Well, I think the report focused on and outlined the long history that Arkansas has in trying to reform its juvenile justice system, including a lot of the problems we've experienced with large institutional settings. One of the initiatives was called a commitment reduction initiative, where jurisdictions were given incentives to reduce the number of youth that were being committed to DYS custody. These are generally youth that are hardest for the courts to handle, and the commitment dropped over 25% in 3 years and allowed the state to close 43 beds at the Alexander Juvenile Treatment Center, and that was a major step in the right direction. And as a result of that, the state was able to turn over about several $100,000 to local community-based programs to continue the reductions in commitments. And that's one of the things that really opened people's eyes to the money that could be saved by making programs available in community-based services, as opposed to taking the children out of the community and locking them up. There are a lot of youth who are nonviolent, misdemeanor offenders that really, the research shows, are more not only not helped but likely harmed by locking them up. They serve no immediate risk to public safety, and it was a focus on those youth that enabled them to get the reduction in commitments, and that certainly could continue if more resources are put into that. People realize in order to help children, particularly children who are, again, nonviolent, misdemeanor, we call them high need and low risk kids, benefit a whole lot from having services available with their family, bringing the family in to assess what's going on, to acknowledge that, to come up with a plan for addressing that, and then providing the service that are necessary to do that. Those programs have been in effect for a couple of years here. They have been funded for out of a system of care grant, and the research shows that they have been very effective. Last budget, the governor did not include this commitment reduction. Previously, it was a combination of stimulus money and general improvement funds. So both of those will run out at the end of June. So, of course, we voiced concern and are still concerned about the fact that these programs, who seem to be working, are not going to be receiving additional funding. Children need to be held accountable for what they've done, including reconciling any burdens or problems that may have been caused with the victims. But the reality is just about all these children are going to be returning back home. And if we really want our neighborhoods to be safe, these kids will have to receive mandatory and effective drug rehabilitation, educational services, family therapy services, and those kinds of programs, so they can return back to the community. Putting a child in a residential in Alexander costs, each bed in Alexander costs $90,000 a year to operate. Residential programs cost about $60,000 a year to operate. So by reducing the number of kids going to those beds and putting them back in the community where they will return to school, where their families are going to need to be involved in their rehabilitation and treatment, and where the issues that have to be addressed are addressed in the community while they're there, not trying to deal with it somewhere away and then bringing the kid back home. And those have been proven to be more effective. Actually, putting a child behind bars for a nonviolent misdemeanor offense, particularly a child who's really not a risk to the community, really just makes matters worse. It feeds into their image of themselves as a criminal. They're exposed to things they shouldn't be exposed to. They begin to internalize some things that the research shows really prevents them from being successfully reintegrated into the community. And so it makes good sense financially. It made good sense based on the research, and the long-term implications are, I think, are a whole lot better for everybody.